So we are, for context for our future selves, we were talking about books.
Yes, traumatic
middle school books. The horrible, horrible books we had to read in middle school. Talked about The Giver. We talked about, the very quick blurb that this person wrote on Reddit.
Mm.
That was the
good source.
Book is about a girl, primary. Girl that lived in something like an Amish community. People are not allowed to go past the forest they live next to. She ends up going past it, rebel, and finds that they live in some kind of bubble, pop, in the middle of modern society. Adults knew what was going on the whole time. Read it in 6th grade, 2002.
Running out of time.
Fucked.
Margaret had it. I actually have an autographed copy of that book from Margaret. I met her.
You met her?
I met her. She signed it. I have it.
Did you tell her that this has ruined your life?
No, I love that book. I really do love it. No, I was in shock.
Did you send her your therapy bills?
She was just at a Barnes & Noble, I think. Or maybe it was in Michigan when we got it signed. I don't remember where we were, but I don't think I'd read it yet. I read it post her signing it, so I couldn't tell her all of the things that I'd found. But I do have a signed copy of it.
Did you say that you'd always seen Tuck Everlasting? I saw that cover everywhere.
You did. Everybody and their brother did that as a show. By the way,
it was like where the Crawdads sing, like before that book came out. Like
that's a movie now too. Did you see that? They're coming out with a movie.
I refuse to see or read anything about that book because it's everywhere and I have to boycott. I am accidentally hipster.
It looks scary. I watched the trailer.
Yeah? Spooky.
It's like an accidental jail situation. So, or at least it looked like it. I don't know if she actually did something bad. They're like, she's always been different. And whenever it starts like that, it's like she's possessed or something. Like, it's like...
The community never knew what to do with her. Nothing their parents did worked.
Yeah, I saw it on YouTube the other day. I was watching Grumps or Brandon Ferris and the Crawdad, where the Crawdads, the trailer, thank you, came on, and I was like, the fuck is this? And I was like, she's like running through the woods, she's in a boat, somebody's dead. I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, if you would have shown 3 more minutes, I could have put the whole movie together. Like, I just needed like a little bit. Yeah. So Talk Everlasting, and all the high schools did it around here. Everybody did it. Everybody loves it because it's a musical.
Tuck Everlasting, right?
Correct.
Okay, because we were talking about Crawdads, and I was like, I don't think that's a musical. I don't think that.
No.
If it is a musical, Sondheim must have written it because that sounds like she's in a boat, someone's dead.
Yes.
Sounds Sondheim-y. TM. Sondheim-y. So Tuck Everlasting, this is a deep cut, and I think it's also why I don't like it. I had a friend, not a friend.
What were they?
Whose last name was Tucker.
Oh.
And she was very much Rachel from Glee of, you're very talented. I would know because I'm also very talented. And she like loved this book, and I never really knew why, but I think it's because it starts with Tuck, and her last name was Tucker, and I think she was like, I'm girl Tuck Everlasting. Tucker. Anyway, we did a little pre-recording research, shall we say, before we realized this would be hilarious for our future selves. So, plot summary.
Click it, girl. Click it.
It says 10-year-old Winifred. Who names their child Winifred? Let's start there.
Like British.
4 words in. We gotta stop. Not even 4, because 10-year-old is all hyphenated. 10-year-old Winnie Foster, who lives at the edge of the village of Tree Gap, which is a clearing, really, gap in the trees. All right, decides to run away from her overbearing family. Decides to, does not follow through.
Highlight, underline, italicize. If you don't get that through your skull, it's not gonna make sense.
First sentence. Yeah, if you misread that, as we did, sorry, I wasn't hearing God. I thought I was hearing Austin coming home. So that evening, a man in a yellow suit, aggressive, approaches the Foster home looking for information. About what? We don't know. Winnie, the man, and Winnie's grandmother hear a music box playing in the wood near the Foster's house.
Wait, right. Winnie the man? There's a man Winnie now?
Winnie, not Winnie the man. Winnie, the man in the yellow suit.
Oh, I'm here now.
And Winnie's grandmother. So,
she doesn't remember.
Where is the rest of her overbearing family?
Obviously not overbearing. Maybe they're
obviously not that present. If they're all gone.
I would like to just also say that every time you say the man in the yellow suit, I can only think of the man in the yellow hat from Curious George. So I'm not, if he's the bad guy, he's such a lovely, have you seen the man in the yellow hat from Curious George? He's a lovely fella. Like, he's lovely.
Doesn't Curious George wear a yellow hat?
No, Curious George just does like a little bean. Hang on, let me show you the man in the yellow hat.
Oh, yes.
Isn't
I always thought he was a banana.
That's probably why they did it. But, like, he's lovely. We love the man in the yellow hat. Don't scroll too far. I'm probably getting into inappropriate things.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to go to Rule 34 for this one.
Anyway, so continue. I don't.
So, the next morning, after we hear the music box playing in the woods near the Foster's home, and we don't go to investigate because we are smart. We are intelligent. Winnie, at 10 years old, smarter than everyone I've ever seen in a horror movie.
Right.
She goes to explore the wood in the broad daylight. Smart. Instead of with her dog and a flashlight at night. While the Fosters own the wood, they never enter it. She sees a young man, Jesse Tuck, a last name, drink from a small spring. When she asks his age, he first says he's 104 years old, then changes his answer 17. Why? That's the first that's the first question?
Right.
Not what are you doing here? Not don't drink from the spring. Not how did you get on my family's land? Not
how old are you?
Yeah, first thing. How old are you?
Okay, what's your star sign? Okay, now what's your name?
Yeah, right. What's your Hogwarts house? What's your Myers-Briggs type? So she's like, yo, how old are you? Because this is 1975, so she said, yo. And he says, I'm 104. No, wait. 17. He's like, checks his wrist of like all the things that he's supposed to remember. Like, 17.
It's like,
she's like, oh, you're 17. Cool. Because that 104 thing, just whatever. Winnie wants to drink from the spring because it's the cool thing to do. But Jessie stops her. When Winnie mentions her father, Jessie becomes scared that she will tell him about the spring. Okay.
Thought Jessie
I don't know if we did on your screen, but we nodded at the same time on mine.
Because it gets like blurry after this.
Yeah. Okay. This is where we're like, we need to stop and record this.
I'm lost. I don't know.
Right. Jessie's mother, May, and brother Miles arrive. They seize Winnie, taking her to their home and pleading with her to not be scared. Don't be scared.
Yeah, okay, here's really quick.
Does this smell like chloroform?
Okay, two things. if someone's gonna snatch me and then be like, please, please, please don't be scared. Maybe just have the conversation with me in the woods. Like maybe don't like seize.
Maybe don't bring me back to. And so okay, so she's in the woods. She's like, "Yo, how old are you?" And he's like, 104. Never mind, 17. And then his mom and his brother,
sister,
also come to drink from the spring.
Yeah,
they just appear. They just arrive.
Spawn.
And they're like, "Here's dinner." They take Winnie. And they're like, shh, just chokehold, just shh. Take her down. And then, not sure how far they go, but it says on the road. They pass the man in the yellow suit.
Where are they now? Where? I thought they were at the house.
So I'm not sure where they live in relation to the Foster's home.
Okay.
I thought it was just on the other side of the woods.
Same.
But apparently they went on the road. Past the man in the yellow suit because he's like watching.
Yeah.
Great.
Does he have a name or is he just man in yellow suit? Like
he's just man in the yellow suit.
Okay.
M-I-T-Y-S. Middies.
Middies. It's Middy.
His name is Middies now. All right. So the Tucks explain that 87 years ago.
Specific.
Very specific.
Not 88. Not 86.
Surprised they didn't say like, so 87 years and 2 months and 8 days ago.
And 60 seconds and
61, 62. I almost went back to the 104 thing. I can't get over that. They explain that 87 years ago, they had passed through the wood while looking for land to farm. Don't go to the woods. They drank from the spring. And it says after 20 years.
That's what I was saying before. It took them 20 years to figure out they weren't aging. I get a year older and I'm like, there's another wrinkle. Like, why did it take them to what? Like, okay, a year, fine. But maybe by like year 5, once your like 6-year-old is not getting any bigger, wouldn't you like put? I mean, I guess I don't know how old he is, but.
And if he's 17, there's a lot that happens between 17 and. What did it say? And
20 years?
After 20 years?
So 37?
17 and 37? You think
and
like muscles would form, like his voice wouldn't be breaking anymore, he'd be a little less sweaty, perhaps.
But they were like, no, we'll give it another year. Wait, one more. Let's see.
Yeah, what kind of eye cream? Yes. Hi. How are you?
Hey.
How are things?
Thanks.
What kind of hyper?
What kind of Neutrogena serum is this woman buying? That, I mean, you know, in those aging commercials, they're always like, erases 20 years from your skin. And it's like Jennifer Aniston, right? It's always Jennifer Aniston because she's looked the same since 1998. But, okay, so fine. Also, 1975. So, 87 years prior is 1890. You're not helping.
All I know is that like that's like when they didn't have like running water. So like they thought that
which is why they drank from the spring, because they didn't have any water. So okay.
The fact that they're not aging when they're eating like meat that sat out is like.
So 1895 was 80 years. So 1888 would be minus another 7.
I don't even.
1888. Wow. Great. Miles's wife. Said this wrong last time. I said Miles's life left him. Miles's wife left him, taking their son and daughter taking their son and daughter. So they didn't drink from the spring, I guess.
Ooh.
Miles's wife.
Who's
Miles, sorry, Jesse's mother May and brother Miles.
Oh, brother Miles.
Yes.
Okay, I'm here now. All right.
Not brother Miles, but his brother Miles, yes.
Do we have a time to talk about our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ? Do you have a time? Do you have a minute to talk about our Lord and Savior?
Elder Miles.
Elder Miles. I can't say it. Okay, sorry. Miles. I missed that it was a brother.
Yeah.
I thought he had a sister. Okay, I'm here now. Everybody's here.
He might have a sister. We don't know yet.
No.
I don't think so. I don't see anything about sister. But Middies does come back soon. So I am guessing that his wife left him, Miles, because he wasn't aging.
Yeah.
So if the wife left after 20 years,
20 years.
that means, first of all, she could have gone to the spring at any time. Second of all, their kids were probably as old as their father.
Oh, God.
It's upsetting. It's an upsetting thought, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Forced to leave their farm, the Tucks returned in the direction of Tree Gap. I feel like I have to read very slow. This is a hard. This is not a well.
Yeah, where are we?
I know.
Wait,
Forced to leave their farm, the Tucks returned in the direction of Tree Gap.
Why'd they have to leave?
Why'd
they have to leave their farm? What happened?
Why do they have to leave their farm? Foreclosed? I don't know. After seeing that the clearing around the spring had not changed in 20 years.
That's when they put it together.
Then they realized that the spring made them immortal.
That's when it clicked. They just thought that they were just fucking, just youthful. They were like, God, we were blessed with incredible skin. Like, Grandpa died when he was 35, right. But, everything's great here.
Wild.
That's crazy. Then they go back and they go, oh, it was the spring.
Okay. Two questions. I have done a lot in the last 20 years.
Yes.
So if something, even in the last 5, were to have made me immortal, I don't know that I would remember something as mundane, potentially mundane, as drinking from a spring in 1888.
That's true. I feel like, if I didn't age after 5 years, I would start backtracking. I would start figuring out when the aging stopped. But yeah, I think you're right. I don't know if they would have
But my follow-up question is how good, if your memory is so sharp that you go back and you see that the clearing around the spring has not changed in 20 years, you should be able to remember everything that you've done in 20 years.
You have that memory that's they can say a day and they're like, I woke up, I ate this, I did this.
Right. Not oh, it's odd that I haven't had to use my face cream recently.
I wonder how many animals are immortal around this woods that just drank from that spring. Just
accidentally. But maybe, again, because it is in the industrial time period that there are very few unions. A lot of people were just dying. So, even if they were immortal, maybe they died anyway from an accident.
Wait, wouldn't you think somebody would say something? Maybe they weren't living that long. Wouldn't they be like, hey, you've lived 17 for the past 20 years.
Right.
What are you doing?
Right, because this, in some of the books that I read as a teenager, that it's here's every immortal book, right? There's a girl and she's not popular in school and she doesn't want to talk to anyone and she just comes in and she has her hood sitting on my blanket so I can't use it. She like has her hood up and she got like headphones in. She's listening to like Avenged Sevenfold and she's like, and there's like the popular girls that come in and they sit at like the desks, like a couple in front of her. Like she's in the back of the classroom, right? Like hunched against the wall. And they're like, oh my gosh, like why don't I have a date with Brad this weekend? Like you can't believe like he hits me. Wow. Wild. And then pause. And then a new boy walks in the room. Never you mind that it's February.
Never you mind.
And it's the middle of the school year.
Correct.
But there's a boy who has dark hair. He's got gel spikes coming out.
Amazing.
He's got a dark, probably black leather jacket and boots. Gotta have the boots. And he sits down next to her. And the first day he doesn't say anything, but the second day he's like, hey, do you have a pencil? And then the third day he's like, I really like you. And she's like, I don't have time for boys because like my family's dead. And somehow he's an immortal, but he's like been finding her throughout every life that she's had. Mm-hmm. Right? But he keeps having to move around because he has like an evil brother that's like trying to kill him.
Yeah.
And
the fun thing
this is incredibly specific, but am I wrong?
No, this is every immortal movie that I've ever seen. This is absolutely it. Or like, people keep.
So he's constantly moving around, and he has to alter his appearance to try to find her in whatever reincarnation she's in. So that being said, the point of that is that they always have to move around.
Mm-hmm.
They're never in one spot. If they were here for 20 years, back to your point 25 minutes ago, that you were like, wouldn't people have noticed?
There's that movie with Blake Lively where she like falls off the bridge and she like goes in the immortal. It's kind of like Tech. She goes in the immortal spring or whatever, and then like people throughout her life keep recognizing her, and she's like, "Oh, that was just my mom," but like turns out it was actually her. Like she has this interaction with this older guy. Oh, which is so fucked because it's the guy that she's dating. It's the guy that she's dating's dad. She had a thing with in the war. And so when she walked through the door, he was like, "Oh my God, like you are uncanny to this woman that I knew." And she was like, "That's me now." But like exactly that whole thing where people recognize them. Like it's not like unless you're so irrelevant in your community. Like unless you're just famous, people are gonna recognize you.
But even so, if this is in 1885, I know that like New York City was still quite a city. I mean, that was huge. But this is at the edge of a village.
Right. Tree Gap, to be exact.
Tree Gap. Which does not seem like Chicago to me.
No.
It seems like
everybody knows
Farmville.
Mm-hmm. Cows. Meat squares everywhere.
Cows.
Okay.
Cows or meat squares.
It's the spring. Exactly. They're like, you know what? That flower was there.
Right.
That pink flower.
Yeah. Exactly.
Bloom again. Not that it could be just the same, like a random.
No, like every blade of grass. Miles gets out his protractor and he's like, correct.
Yeah.
What do you mean it hasn't changed? And that tree was here too. Yeah, 20 years later, it probably still would be. Whatever. Okay, so they're forced to leave their farm. They return in the direction of Tree Gap. Fine. After seeing the clearing has not changed, they realize spring's made them immortal. Great. Winnie quickly grows fond of the Tucks. Angus.
Stockholm syndrome?
Tuck. Talk about a meat square. Angus Tuck, patriarch of the family, explains that he wants to grow old but can't.
Oh.
Why? Not why can't. Obviously, why.
No, but like why does he want to grow? Yeah, no, I would rather not. But I guess
I'll make your bones hurt. Like
I can make your bones hurt. Oh my God. I guess grass is greener, right? On the other side.
Right. I mean, to be fair, maybe if he's like, we'll say he's like, if his son is 17, 104, I mean 17, then he's probably in his 40s or late 40s, 50s. I'll say 50s. So he's like, that is actually unfortunate because he's like right at the age where he like can almost retire. And it's not really acceptable for him to take like an afternoon nap in his chair.
Right.
But like he's almost there.
Right.
So I got you, Angus. Okay.
Rough place.
He asks her, Winnie, to keep the Tuck's secret, saying that if others found out about the spring, they would drink from it and later regret their immortality. Let them make the decision.
So wait, quick question. Sorry, not to get off topic here, but
sure.
Two really, really fast questions. So if you're immortal, yeah, could Winnie like whip out a crowbar and like break their arm? Would it just like magically heal, or is it immortal in the sense of like it'll heal real time, but you just can't die? Like if you get like a wound, like if you get like a bullet wound or whatever, like you'll still get hurt. Like you won't like Deadpool and like regrow it over whatever you do. It will heal in real time, but like you can't get gangrene or like you can't get like, you know.
Right. You can't get something that will kill you, or like it won't actually kill you.
Yes. Second. Oh yes, answer that question.
I don't know. I think that like similar to other, like when there's a like vampires in a book, like it has like kind of different rules for every like they're all the same story.
Right.
But like Vampire Diaries and Twilight aren't really the same thing. They're the same thing. They're totally the same thing. But like they're not the same thing.
Right. We have to define our rules of immortality. Because my second question is,
yes,
how did the landscape not change? Like is the water coming out of the spring and hitting the landscape? Like is the landscape taking it from the? I don't think I'm understanding what a spring is. Like maybe I need to Google what. But like, how is the landscape the same? Are they just sharing the same water source? Like, so if you cut that grass, does it just won't cut? It just blows up your lawnmower. Like you just touch it and it's just like.
Well, I don't think so because even though the scent of fresh cut grass is actually grass just crying out and telling other grass that it's dying, because that's the most upsetting thing I've ever learned.
Yeah, if you like that. There you go.
That doesn't mean that it's actually dying. It just means it's been injured.
Yeah.
Right? So like maybe, but also nobody's like landscaping this.
No,
so maybe, you know, like how people like their hair just like stops at a certain length.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like that like the grass is just like like done.
All right, getting too specific. Anyway, I need to know the rules of immortality because I'm feeling like we're
right. Well, and maybe our dear friend Natalie Babbitt will expound.
Expound. All right. What does Winnie do? Does Winnie say, "I'm gonna go drink from the spring"?
All right. So he asks her to keep the secret, and he's like, everybody's gonna regret it, so don't tell anybody. So she says, oh, got it. It says, that evening, Jesse, all I saw was proposes, and I was like,
we have moved.
But it says, proposes that after when he turns 17, she drink from the spring and live eternally with him.
She's 10. Can we, hang on, pause.
She's 10.
Okay.
She's 10. Are you good? Who's malfunctioning on the couch?
Yeah, I am too. That a 17-year-old sitting on a 10-year-old. Actually, I'm a 4-year-old, to be exact.
Yes, correct. And that's an age difference of almost a factor of 10. I mean, that's incredible. So, yes, so he's like, run away with me. But don't run away. Just drink from the spring in 7 years. I'll still be here. They really should have, Natalie, Listen, Natalie,
Speaking to
Miss
her.
Babbitt, you really should have had Winnie be like 13,
Yeah.
14.
16.
At least have them in the same school.
Yes.
Don't have one of them in elementary school
Another one being born.
and the other one be graduating from high school.
Yeah.
That, exactly. That was the exact noise that I would also like to make. Great. So Jesse proposes, basically.
Gross.
Awesome.
Wow.
So Middy's, our guy, man in the yellow suit, is back.
My man.
Middy's is back. Steals the Tux's horse
What?
and rides to the Foster's home.
Is
He tells them that the Tucks have kidnapped Winnie and promises to rescue her in exchange for the Foster's wood.
hang on.
Pardon?
He blackmails this family into saving their child. Why couldn't they just go get her? Why can't they just told her where?
Yeah, because he wasn't
I'm
like,
sorry.
I'll tell you where your daughter is if you
No,
give me
no.
the woods. Sorry,
Yeah.
the wood, singular. It doesn't say in exchange for the land. I'm assuming it means the woods.
Yeah.
Plural. He directs the constable to the Tux's home, then rides ahead to meet the Tux alone. So he's like, hey, here's where your daughter is. And then he's like, I'll meet you there. He's going to take off and he's going to go talk to Tux. Right? Are we here?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. He tells the Tux that his grandmother had a friend who...
Hang on. So, Middy's grandma. Friend. Okay, we're there.
All right, we're going to...
We need fingers. Middy's grandma. Middy's grandma. We just got one. Okay.
All right.
Grandma
All
has
right,
friend.
hold, let me find the sentence again. So Middy's tells the Tux, it's four of them,
And Winnie?
that Middy's grandmother
Yes. Had a friend.
had a friend who left her husband taking their son and daughters because he had not aged in 20 years. Okay.
So Minnie's grandma's friend's husband also drank from the spring.
Okay, so what I think that he is saying...
Is it Miles?
I think it's Miles. Because it says son and daughter.
Oh. Oh.
That was phenomenal that you pulled that out of thin air. You were like,
Oh.
wild.
Thank you.
Hang on. It's got to be Miles because it says it says 20 years, and that can't be the average noticeable difference in
it's just every
immortality.
20 years.
Every 20 years on the dot, people are like, God?
New Year's is a rough time for that family. It's a dark time.
It says the ageless husband's mother had owned a music box. So Miles' mother.
Everything. It's all clicking. The music box. Okay, May. Okay, I'm listening.
Middy's had learned the music box's tune from his grandmother, who had learned it from her friend. So
there's a lot of. Couldn't it have just been Middy's family? Why is it like Middy's grandma's dog walker? Like this is like we pulled out a writing utensil. Where did you pull that out from? Where did you get that?
My pants.
Oh.
All right. So we have. Right. Okay. So we have Middy's.
Okay.
Right? Yes. Is this right side for you, or is this backwards?
No, you're right. It's good.
I was like, don't make me write backwards. Middies.
You're already writing left-handed. I'm not going to give you more challenges. The world is not meant for you, poor left-handed.
So Middy's grandmother.
Yes, Frank. So, Meg, I think we're all just coming back to... Or no, I guess it was a friend. Okay, never mind. All right.
Her friend was nameless wife.
Yes, was Miles's wife.
Yes, who was married to Miles. They have son and daughter, right? Correct?
Ah.
Right. So the ageless husband's... This is like a logic puzzle. The ageless husband's mother had owned a music box. So Miles's
Miles.
mom's music box. Okay, so here's
So is May?
here's the full bit.
Okay.
Let me read the whole thing.
Okay.
Right? Leave this up.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So this says, he tells the Tucks that his grandmother had a friend who left her husband taking their son and daughter because the husband had not aged in 20 years. The ageless husband's mother had owned a music box. The man in the yellow suit had learned the music box's tune from his grandmother, who had learned it from her friend.
Okay, so May had the music box, and then
Yes.
the wife, 2 Miles, had heard that, who's the friend of the grandma. Okay, we are here. That's the connection.
Yes.
So the friend of the grandma is Miles' ex-wife.
We don't know her name.
No, just ex-wife.
Miles and Jesse.
This sounds like one of those things that you used to do on the bus, where you'd say this like crazy elaborate story, and then you'd be like, "And what color was the car?" Like, yes, really do those
Correct.
things. Like,
Middies learn the music boxes. Okay, so also, my grandmother's told me a lot of stories.
yes.
Right. And they're interesting. She's got great stories. All my grandparents had good stories. Have. But I can't say that any of them taught me a tune.
It's like very Anastasia vibes.
It's
Like,
very Anastasia vibes. Like, it's because it's not just like a nursery rhyme song.
right, like, yeah, right. A tune.
It's a tune.
She must have been singing it all day, every day. Like, she must have, everything she did, she's like.
Yeah, I mean, maybe she was, maybe she, let's say she whistled it.
Okay.
Whistling it. Fine. Or humming it, or whatever, as she did the dishes. Who knows? It says 2 nights ago, Middies had heard the same tune coming from the Foster's wood, where
Right.
May had played it on her music box. How do we know that May was playing it on her? We know that it's May's box.
Right.
But was May in the woods behind the Foster's house?
Well, yeah, because it's probably been 2 days, right, since they like snatched Winnie from the woods. So.
No, he says 2 nights ago. So he heard the tune, but then the next morning, that's when Winnie left.
Well, yeah, they must have been there, because remember then the mom and brother come after she talks to Jesse?
Right. So yeah, Jesse. So she's only been gone for maybe a day. Which, I say only. That's a long time for a parent to be missing their 10-year-old.
Yeah, seriously. And a child in the woods.
In the woods.
Yeah,
on the edge of a village.
5 minutes is enough to call the police. You're good. But, I mean, you do, technically, as awful as it is, you do have to wait 24 hours to report, right? Isn't it like you have to wait a whole day before you say someone's missing?
I'm not sure if that's how it is for kids.
I
think it is.
I know for like adults, I've seen it in like Castle and like other murder mystery shows.
Right.
They're like, this person's missing, and they're like, how long have they been missing? And they're like 5 hours, and they're like, sorry, come back tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god. Like, but I get it. Like some people like just wander off, I guess. But it's just like, I feel like like if it was you. You know what I mean? And like we always talk all the time, and all of a sudden you just fell off the face of the earth. Like I would need 24 hours to know that you were missing. Like that's crazy. But yeah, I bet kids are different because I mean that's such a they're so like helpless. Not and like that's a bad word for it, but they just don't have resources. Like they can't drive, they can't.
Yeah.
They don't have money. They don't have like they can't just wander and go somewhere like an adult could. So.
Right.
I hope it's not like it for kids. Can you imagine being a mom and waiting a whole day before anybody would do anything about your child? I would lose my damn mind.
No.
I would go find them myself. Like
Yeah.
that would be horrible. No.
Yeah. No thanks. So, but she's fine. We know that Winnie's fine. So, and because this is a young adult novel, that means that really the parents don't care about the child.
As overbearing as they are.
If they are alive,
they don't care.
They don't necessarily care.
Good for you. Yeah, what was grandma? The grandma walked her into the woods.
She starts the book deciding to run away from her overbearing family, right? So, like, clearly they're not everything she wants them to be. Matilda-wise, probably.
Yeah.
So, same tune coming from the Foster's Wood where May had played it on her music box. So here's a thought. I wonder, since Jesse came back to the spring, and if May was just there, the evening before, is there something that they have to continue or more often drink from the fountain? Some kind of this elixir or something? Like, why?
I have no. It'll probably come out at the end why they're back because the dad said he wants to age and he can't.
Right.
Or wouldn't he just stop drinking in the spring?
Right, but maybe that doesn't just like allow him to continue the aging process. Maybe he like.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
All right, let's find out.
Withdrawals. I don't know. It says he had followed the Tucks and eavesdropped to hear their story. Yeah, because they're going to be like, hey, remember that time we drank from the spring 20 years ago? Then we realized we weren't aging.
Also, how close do you have to be? Are they screaming this story? Or is he like also walking with them to
I know.
hear the story?
He's just like darting from tree to tree.
In a yellow suit. In a yellow suit in the woods.
Yellow suit. Middies. Our guy. So he says that he promises to rescue her in exchange for the land. So it says now with legal possession of the wood and spring, he plans to sell the spring water to people who deserve it, and it will be very, very expensive.
How do you determine that?
Yeah, who deserve it?
Money,
if they have the money.
Yeah, yep. That's a really
Middies offers to pay the Tucks to publicly demonstrate their invincibility. Right.
Okay.
Angus angrily refuses. The man drags. So Middies still doesn't have a name, by the way. Still has not. Even if we get a name, he's still Middies. But like, he drags Winnie outside. He announces that after she drinks the water, demonstrations with her will do just as well. May, using a shotgun as a club, clouts him on the head. Middies falls just as the constable arrives.
Ooh, that's a bad look for May. It's not good.
Yeah, because Winnie tells the police that the Tucks are her friends, not her kidnappers. Stockholm Syndrome. The constable takes Winnie home and locks May in the village jail. Which feels very like Andy Griffith. Village jail.
Mm-hmm.
Mayberry. Middy's dies
From the head.
without a name.
No.
Hey.
Hang on. I'm looking up the musical. Give me 2 seconds. He's got to have a name. Wait.
Middy's.
Wait. Hang on.
He dies.
From the clobber?
Yeah.
Damn.
And then it says, this has taken a turn. Since May has committed murder, she will be hanged.
What is happening? I thought this was a Peter Pan show. Oh.
And also, it feels like a side character, like the mom of the romantic interest.
Yeah. Is now
This
being
is like,
okay.
This is like an NPC. Like, this is a non-playable character. Like, this is not.
This is an NPC. I'm sobbing. Okay, hang on. Oh, it's on. Oh, Rory from Gilmore Girls is in this.
Isn't that the dog?
What?
Isn't that the dog?
No. Have you seen Gilmore Girls? Have you ever watched Gilmore Girls?
No.
Okay, Gilmore Girls is the show. So, and lots of Sissy Spacek is in this movie. Hang on, pause, everybody. That's Carrie. Carrie is in this movie. Okay.
Carrie Pig's Blood Carrie?
Carrie Pig's Blood Carrie. She's mom. She's May.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you would know her. Have you seen the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants at all? Have you seen?
I mean, at some point, I'm sure.
Yeah. Okay, so she's a girl. Rory is the one from Gilmore Girls, and she's also in the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, and she is Winnie. Hang on. Can I share my screen really quick? I'm sorry. I understand we're getting very off topic here, and I need to find out what happens to May, but I can't share my screen. I just need to show you this is kind of a Jeremy Jordan as 17 situation. Disney Mom. This is TV Guide's Tuck Everlasting. And it is a Jeremy Jordan is trying to be 17. Alexis does not look 10.
Cast?
You see Winnie? Does she look
okay,
like
but like.
Does she look like she's 10?
Mm-mm.
Not even close.
But also, I have never seen more like photoshopped eyes.
Correct. Actually, her eyes are very
true.
big. They're very photoshopped. I don't. She looks young. I will give her that, and she's beautiful.
She looks young.
Gilmore Girls, but she doesn't look 10.
She doesn't look 10, but at the same time, I could not tell you if she was like a 13-year-old or like 25.
Yeah, 100%. Anyway, back to the story. Just wanted you to know. I was trying to see if Mitty had a name. You should see it. You should go back to that casting and see. Look at her in the movie. She doesn't look 10. Do you see that picture of her in the deer? Look at that. That is not a 10-year-old.
Well, how old was she in the shooting of this?
I don't know. You have to Google her.
Because this was 2002. She was born in 81. So yeah, so she's 21 in this.
Yeah. I mean, she looks 21. Well, I guess she doesn't. She looks young, but she doesn't look 10.
Doesn't look 10.
Okay.
Which, maybe that's why it was so, like, romantic at the time. Like, because nobody paid attention that in the book she was 10.
Correct. Also, you're right. He doesn't have a name. He's always just Man in Yellow Suit, because Ben Kingsley played Man in Yellow Suit.
Oh, yeah. Middies, my guy. They could have had like Johnny Depp play that. He feels like Johnny Depp type. He's a Taurus though. Ooh, yikes. This says she'll be hanged. The Tucks and Winnie realize that attempting to execute her will reveal the Tucks' secret. They can't kill her. Which, let's think about this for a second. Think about the logistics of this. If you are hung, not only does your neck break, delicious, you also, it cuts off the oxygen. Can't breathe. And after like 2 minutes without oxygen, your brain cells start to go. start to be like, bing, 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 pop. So, yeah, if they hang her, she gonna be like a vegetable in a couple minutes? Like, what?
Well, and then I guess if she's immortal, then, like, we just need to find out what their terms are. Like, can their bones never break?
Right. Yeah, if their bones can't break, if she's just made of titanium, then, like, her neck isn't gonna break. But then the oxygen is gonna get her.
But, like, they might be immune to all that. Like, who knows what they're...
Right, who knows what our friend Natalie came up with. So,
but yeah.
So regardless, it's gonna reveal their secret.
Ugh.
He's... Oh, you can't see him.
Okay.
I think his ball went in the closet.
Happy ending.
I don't know. We're a couple paragraphs from the end. The following evening, not sure what happened to May. Following evening, Jessie visits Winnie, which means she's gone home.
Okay.
Okay. You need me to get your ball? We're gonna have to edit this out.
Brief hold. Thank you, hold.
There's your ball. Get your ball. Okay. He visits Winnie. He explains that Miles has a plan.
Miles.
Of course he does. To break May out of jail. What a great son pair.
May and Miles.
Jessie and Miles. Let's go break our mom out of jail.
Yes, very sweet.
Jessie. He gives her a bottle of water from the spring and asks her to drink it when she turns 17. Why? I'm going to keep a water bottle for 7 years. It's going to evaporate.
Wait, but if she still lives there, can't she just go to the spring?
Yeah, because Middy's doesn't own it.
So can't she just...
So the Fosters...
Okay, so how are they getting this girl out of... So, sorry, I thought you meant the mom. He gave the mom a thing. Okay, so Jessie gives Winnie the bottle. Okay.
Yes, he gives Winnie a bottle and asks her to drink it when she turns 17. Even though he's, like, gonna be alive.
You could just go back.
Right, great. I scanned ahead by accident and Winnie volunteers to help May escape. At midnight, Winnie and the Tucks go to jail. I think they go to the jail. They don't go to jail. Because it says Miles pries out the window of May's cell. Cells don't have windows. Not without bars. And Winnie exchanges places with May.
Why? Why?
The constable mistakes Winnie for May. He does not realize until morning that May has escaped, and by then the Tucks are gone. Two weeks pass. Winnie, here's the thing that I saw, and I was like, 2 weeks pass. Winnie sees a toad threatened by a dog. She snatches up the toad and pours the water from Jessie's bottle over it.
Okay.
What? Decades later, in 1950, May and Angus Tuck return to Tree Gap. They learn that 3 years earlier, in 1947, the wood was struck by lightning and burned. It was bulldozed, and now a gas station stands on the site. Angus finds Winnie's grave and learns that she died 2 years ago, in 1948, after being married and having children. He feels proud. As they leave the town, They see a toad squatting on the road. Angus moves it to the side of the road, commenting that it must think it's going to live forever.
So
That's the end of the book.
What?
That's the end of the book.
That was the most. What?
Is that not the most...
That's so anticlimactic.
What happens to Jesse and Miles?
What happened to the where?
What happened to the whole trial? Were they just like, oh, I guess we have the wrong person? Because they didn't hang her, thinking that she's May.
We chose the toad, not the dog. We could have made a dog live forever. I mean, like, no shade to toads.
It's a toad threatened by a dog. But I do remember seeing on covers of the book that there was a frog on the cover.
Just take the water. I'm like, again, like, I thought you
But,
liked
well, maybe does something happen? Because it says that May and Angus returned to Tree Gap. But
Right.
where are Jesse and Miles?
So this person writes, I don't know, this is from Goodreads. I was happy she didn't drink it because the Tucks, as much as she loved them, were only passing by. It's like those people that are only in your life for a certain amount of time and make an impact when they are gone. Something with we're what? wait.
What are you doing?
What happens to Jesse?
Maybe if you played in a different room, you would lose your ball all the time.
I'm Googling it. Ah, okay.
Oh, I'm so sorry. That made weird noises.
You're good. I don't even know. Okay. So, hang on. Schmoo. Right. Okay. So it would be great to be eternally gorgeous. Imagine every girl's reaction to you is something like, he seems so glorious to me. Wait, what are we doing? Okay, never mind.
What?
Sorry. Okay, so Jesse will always just be a boy, almost a man. Is I guess a quote from the book. Maybe? When the Tucks finally realized what had gone down at the spring, most of them had some major life experiences. Angus and May raised a family, and Miles had also gotten married and had kids. Jesse, on the other hand, stayed in the 17-year-old land. Okay. So, like when they first drank the water. Sure, this means he didn't suffer as much loss as Miles, who had to stand by his wife taking their children away. But this means Jesse never experienced the good things that made loss so difficult. So is it better to have loved and lost or to never have loved at all? So then they say Jesse has never loved. Well, maybe that's why he's so intent on making Winnie his life partner. She is only 10 years old. So he clearly isn't crushing on her. It seems like he just wants what he never had the chance to have, love. In fact, Jesse is the only one of the Tucks to ask Winnie to drink the water and join them. This is a quote. Winnie, listen, I won't see you again, not for ages. Look now, here's the bottle of water from the spring. You keep it. And then no matter where you are, when you're 17, Winnie, you can drink it and come find us. Winnie, please say you will. That's pretty close to a proposal, wouldn't you say?
Mm-hmm. I mean,
yes.
So she doesn't because she, I guess, agrees with Angus that she wants to have,
Yeah.
for lack of a better term, an adulthood.
Yeah. What is the musical?
But
wow.
Again, I don't know where they go. Where Jesse and Miles go at the end of the book.
No, that didn't say. It didn't say. So why did she leave him? Why didn't she just go drink the spring? Why did she take the children away? Why did Miles have to lose his wife and kids?
Where did Jesse and Winnie meet Miles and Tuck? What? What do Miles and Jesse do when they live away from their parents? It says Miles works as a carpenter or a blacksmith and Jesse does odd jobs. So they're all free, but it says they go out into the world periodically and do work in different places. They have to stay on the move because their agelessness makes them obviously weird. So Miles uses his carpentry knowledge to remove the window to the cell. Doesn't take a genius to break a window. Just saying. So, what? Also, what kind of, anti-American BS is this that they, paved over the Fountain of Youth for a Shell station?
They paid paradise to put up a parking lot.
Right. That's basically what Smash Mouth heard. Sorry. That's not Smash Mouth. It's just Big Yellow Taxi. Counting Crows.
That's crazy.
Bop, bop, bop. Wow. So.
Put up a Shell station. Right.
I love that.
The spring would have been there. Like fire dies when water. Like if it was struck by lightning, the spring would have been there. Fun fact: water kills fire. So, it would have been.
And
fine.
if it hadn't changed in 20 years, it was probably just shrapnel and just burned ash.
Great question.
All around. How big does this? Where's the border of this springs?
Right, because if it can't die, how did they pave over it?
This is the problem with Immortal books, is that there's too many inconsistencies because it doesn't work.
We should be think tanks for people that write Immortal books because we ask all the questions. Because how did it burn down? First of all, question. How did they pave over it? Because you're right, then it would have just blown everything up that it touched, right?
Or this happens often in Virginia and other clay soil states that we keep having to repave the roads and reseal the roads because the water just finds its way up. There's one spot on Fort Hunt Road that has been wet for my entire life. Rain or shine, that spot is wet. And it's because there's a little bit of fresh water that comes out of that.
That's fabulous.
And instead of redirecting the water to, I don't know, go into somebody's house through a faucet, they just keep trying to seal it over. I'm upset for the man in the yellow suit.
Minis.
Our good friend, Mitties. He didn't get justice.
Nope.
Because May escaped.
Yeah.
Not that May meant to kill him.
No,
I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't sound like, yeah. Wow, I just feel so I have so many questions. Natalie, props to you. Because I feel like people that talk about books are the ones that you have so many questions about and you want to find out, where were the boys?
Right.
What, you know what I mean? So more props to you, but I feel unsatisfied. I don't feel like I wanted a better ending. For as much as fucking went down, I wanted a better ending.
Yeah, and this is important. It's 139 pages.
That's a short book. That's a
That is a
short book.
very short book for all, like, I
For
feel
all
like
that
we just
happened?
read 40
Right.
and filled up the other 80 to 100 with our own questions.
I mean, and like that's why those books. I mean, because like The Giver's the same thing. You never know what happens at the end of that, and I don't know what happens at the end of Poe. But
Poe?
like, yeah.
What happens? Maybe this will be another episode, shall we say? The two kids, well, they find. I think they find the sister, but like these robbers are using her because she's really small, and basically like propelling her down into the bank vaults to like bring the gold bars, because this is like old, right, back up. So then people go into the bank vaults and they're like, where's the gold? Like, this was locked, because no one is like she was like a 6-year-old girl. So like she's itty bitty. But yeah, they find her, save her from that life of crime. And then they find the mom sleeping in the church, because that's where the homeless sleep at night.
Children.
They find their mom, who's homeless, and they're kind of just like one big happy family, and like everything's fine. But I'm like, you're homeless and you have such PTSD.
Yeah, right.
All of you have coupling PTSD, which means that you're not going to be able to be there for each other because you're all messed up, and it's not going to be a good life for you. Sorry about it.
Wait, yeah. So and like John, who was amazing, and like Turtles All the Way Down changed my life.
Yes. Phenomenal book.
Also, I mean, he did say that she marries and like, has kids and she still goes through stuff, but like she still left that. Like he didn't say who she marries, and she didn't say whatever happened to the boys after they, said that their dad was found in this. But like, it was good. But it was a very like satisfying ending though. John's I felt satisfied. But like I feel like the really good books like that, like even John kind of leaves things ambiguous at the end, for like you to then. So I think like the really great writes, like the really good authors and books that do end up. I mean, John, Fault in Our Stars, and Tucked Everlasting and The Giver and all this other stuff. Like people that actually like last like for decades are like the people that you decide. Like you write your own ending. And like if we write theaters also like that too. If it's not Golden Age or Disney, there's a lot of shows that are like, and we all just left.
Right. True. Yeah, the ones that stay with you are the ones that once you're done with a book, your heart is outside of your body.
Yes, and you want more. You want answers. You want.
Which I guess is how it gets so popular, because people are like, I need to talk about this.
Right. Yeah, exactly. They need like what we do, where we are like, I just need to talk and try and figure something out with somebody. Yeah. So maybe there's a whole like, art to it of leaving everything so ambiguous, but like, it kills me as a human being when that happens. Like when movies do that too, when they're just like, when they fade to black and they're like, watching the sunset. I'm like, answers. I need all of them.
Yeah, come back. I see you riding into the sunset. Come here.
Fade to black. Show the names. Play that happy song.
Tree Gap. I want to know where Tree Gap is.
Is it a real place? Wait.
No.
No. Which means none of you can help each other because you're so messed up.
Abbott was born in Ohio. Anyway, whatever. It's fine. We'll leave it here. But Tree Gap is probably somewhere in Oklahoma. Right? Feels right. I say we end this because we have to leave everything morally ambiguous.
We do.
And, nothing can ever be wrapped up with the bow, because that's not how life is, as John Green says.
He's not wrong. Unfortunately, it's infuriating, but he's not wrong.
He's not wrong, which is almost worse. Any final thoughts about Tuck Everlasting?
I've been on a journey. I feel like I really got invested, even though I didn't see it or read it. I really felt like I did. Like, really. I mean, it's good. I mean, I get why it's a classic. Like, after hearing everything, like, it makes sense. Confused, but it makes sense.
Very confused. I will wake up at about 4 a.m. to go to the bathroom, as I always do, and lay there for a while thinking. Just about the book. Probably about Middies. I need to know his backstory.
I was just about to say that. I was about to say, like, why does everybody have a name except Middies? And the ex-wife and Middy's grandma. Like, Middy's and the ex-wife. No, Winnie's whole family doesn't have names. She was just grandma. Winnie's grandma.
As far as we know, yeah, they were just an overbearing family.
So, like, why?
But who knows how many, like, if there was a couple chapters before then that, like, her brother was being annoying or, you know, whatever. Her older sister won't let her use her clothes.
Right. I just, like, why doesn't Middy have a name? That's what I want to know. Was it something to say, like, you know, that's like a symbolism of, like you were saying, capitalism, like, we're going to sell it to the most deserving, but it's like when people bought places in heaven, when they thought they could, like, pay the church, that they would, you know what I mean?
Predestination, yeah. I do like our name of our acronym, Middies. I think it works well.
It works very well.
And maybe he was supposed to be some kind of, like, American force because he's in a yellow suit. You can't miss yellow.
Nope.
Can't miss America. Because we are in your face. We are here.
Yeah. Yes, we are.
And he was kind of just appearing places that he was not wanted.
Overhearing
Russia. And then the capitalist stuff. Oh, I'm going to sell this to the most deserving people. Sorry, who?
Right.
Oh, it's going to be expensive. That's the most deserving. Got it. Noted.
What are your final thoughts? What are your? Oh, my phone keeps hanging. Before you say it.
I'm glad I didn't waste my time reading it.
I'm glad.
I'm glad that instead of reading it as a child, I read it now in a shorter version with you.
Me too.
That's honestly my preferred method of reading books is
I like
the short version and with you.
Yes. Any postmortem? Any other things that really stuck with you or sticking with you? Other than your 4 a.m. thoughts, which you'll have to text me.
About Middies? Yeah, I'm not sure. None yet. It's got to percolate for a while.
Yeah, I think it needs to settle. I think I was so not expecting that ending. I just really wasn't. I do
really like the final touch of him, of Angus finding the toad.
Mm-hmm.
That feels like the bow.
Mm-hmm. And then saying it feels like he's gonna live forever.
Yeah.
Dude, that toad's probably been eaten and, like, run over like that.
That toad has been pooped out of several things.
And he's like, where am I?
Yeah.
That toad probably doesn't fear man, death, or God because
he was probably in the road because he's like, kill me.
The toad, because he can't comprehend because he's got a little toad brain. So he's just
oh, yeah.
When I die.
He's got no idea. Wow.
Yeah, it was a very, like, that feels like, again, going back to, like, the greats, right? Like, these books that we have to read, that feels like a very that type of ending.
Right.
Where, like, it does tie it with a bow, but it leaves you so, like, emotionally raw.
It almost feels like she, like, that was a joke at some point. That, like she had, like, that part of the story, and she had to build the story back from that. Like, that's the only part that feels natural in that story. And it's the least natural. Right. Because it's an immortal toad. That poor thing is still out there somewhere.
Just Hopper. walking around being like, why won't I die?
Why won't you let me die?
But there has to be a whole colony of immortal animals because you're going to tell me that nobody's drank from that spring except the tucks? Like, not a single animal in the woods has stopped to get a little drink.
There's a squirrel out there that's 150 years old. And, like, nobody else?
Yeah. The tucks haven't found anybody else that has been like, well, I guess they move so much, they probably don't. But I feel like, okay, so the universe works, follow me. The universe works in odd, strange ways, right?
Yes.
So if these people are immortal and at some point somebody else was immortal and they all had to travel to get out and away so that they didn't get discovered, you would think paths would cross. It's like the world is so small. Like, you know, when people are like, oh my God, you know that person? Oh my God, small world. Like,
right. But is it something that, like, you throw a gang sign and, like,
no.
you know, I
don't I don't know how they would figure it out, but I feel like as specific as this was, the man in the yellow suit's grandma's friend, like.
And was he telling her that, like, my grandmother's friend's mother-in-law, you know anything about her? Or was he like, oh, coincidentally, she had a music box that had that tune. Interesting.
I hope it's the first one.
It feels like the first one. Because he's supposed to be like, I don't know. I have a soft spot for middies. You're not supposed to. But like the man never even got a name. No wonder he dressed as flashy as he did.
He's the OG Mr. Cellophane. Cellophane.
Right.
No, because he started out as the man in the yellow hat from Curious George, I also had a little soft spot for middies. But then, you know, when he came out swinging, I mean, I guess May came out swinging.
May came out swinging. With a club.
No, I feel for middies. I feel like because we read him and he was introduced as just like this other dude that was just helping out, and then he turned to be this like, he's kind of like the give me 3 seconds. It's always like those movies where like it's like Hans and like Frozen when he's like, oh, I'm such a good guy and everything's fine, and then at the end he's like, bye. Just kidding.
Right.
Hope you freeze to death. I'm gonna go kill your sister. Be right back. So it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, but I wonder if we would have seen the movie or the play or read the book, we would have had like a little like, you know, hackles moment where the hair stands up on the back of your neck. But he was the man in the yellow hat. I'm thinking Curious George.
Yeah.
Like yellow's talk about, here you go, color psychology. Yellow's not normally an evil color. Green suit, purple suit, fine. Black suit, red suit.
Right.
Yellow? Sure. Yellow?
Like, yeah, yellow doesn't work. And yeah, we didn't get the soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get his entrance soundtrack. We didn't get the other characters like you know, we didn't get all the other cues. Visual, verbal, whatever cues. So maybe there is more to it.
I mean, he didn't give me any hackles when we first met him. I thought he was just middies. I was vibing with middies. I'm impacted. Good job, Natalie.
Yeah.
This is why they write books, right? For people to make. Where are we at? An hour and 41 conversation about it.
Yes.
I say that's doing your job correctly. No matter how people feel.
And we didn't even read the damn book. We just read the Wikipedia synopsis.
Wiki synopsis. Thank you, Wikipedia.
Wild. Alrighty. I want to go play a game.
Go play a game, sister.
And go work on my blanket.
Yay.
So.
Joe will be home soon.
Alright. Hi, recording.
Bye,